Well, tonight the government's projection of the COVID-19 situation in the coming days inspires no hope and instead calls for even stiffer interventions if Kenya has to contain this virus. Now, the Ministry of Health's message to you tonight is brace yourself for bad news and mentally prepare for the worst, even as 3 additional counties reported infections. This is NTV Tonight on this Tuesday, the 7th of April 2020. The highlights. Tonight, focus shifts to frontline healthcare workers as 14 more test positive to bring the total to 172.
Nobody is going anywhere where they are exposed without protective gear.
Also tonight,
all golf clubs must be closed with immediate effect.
Additional measures rolled out as government warns of darker days ahead.
We must also prepare for the worst.
Plus, the pain of the coronavirus restrictions on stranded passengers.
Sasa hiyo order imefanyika kama tu bado niko kwa barabara.
Wapende wasipende tatobo.
And those who have found a way around the tight rules. And also tonight, fear rises and hope falls as gangs unleash terror in Kisumu streets in the name of enforcing coronavirus rules.
Live from the Nation Centre, this is NTV Tonight with Ken Mijungu.
Good evening, glad you could join us. Flora Atieno is our sign language interpreter. Let's begin with an update on the global situation, and the race to the 1.5 million mark is on. Now, globally, the reported cases tonight stand at 1,397,165. The total coronavirus-related deaths are up by more than 10,000 from last early to stand at 80,930. Now, 298,513 positive coronavirus cases have so far recovered. And the United States crossed the 10,000 mark as more deaths were reported there. And the death toll now stands at 12,227. While France tonight recorded the highest number of daily deaths at 1,471. Now, these numbers are changing very rapidly, so they are only as true as at the time of this broadcast. On a day that the World Health Organization said Africa will not be used as a test ground for the COVID-19 vaccine. Let's begin with our top story tonight now. And Kenya leads in the number of COVID-19 infections in East Africa after 14 more people tested positive in the last 24 hours. This brings the total to 172. And as NTV's Leila Mohammed now reports, the ministry is asking Kenyans to prepare for even darker days ahead.
In the same 24 hours, we have tested 696 samples, out of which 14 people have tested positive for the disease.
With the number of coronavirus cases in the country now racing towards the 200 mark, the government provided a grim prediction of what's still to come.
Kenyan authorities are reporting that a huge percentage of the positive COVID-19 cases in the country are mild. But going by the trends globally, the Kenyan Health CS is now saying that Kenyans should brace themselves for tough times ahead.
The mortality rate for us has been quite low, but this is no reason for us to be relaxed at all. As we said earlier, we are praying and hoping for the best. But clearly, we must also prepare for the worst.
This, even as the Ministry of Health announced new distancing measures, speaking to the severity of the virus that has continued to ravage nations.
All golf clubs must be closed with immediate effect, and the clubhouses will remain closed. In this particular case, it is actually the reverse. It is the members who will eventually pass the virus to the caddies.
12 Kenyans and 2 foreigners make up the latest group of COVID-19 positive confirmations from the 696 samples tested in the last 24 hours. And yet again, there are more men than women in isolation facilities and in need of treatment.
4 cases of a recent history of travel from Tanzania, South Africa, UAE, and the United States. 4 of them are from quarantine facilities, while 10 were picked by our surveillance teams.
Mandera and Kisii, with 2 and 1 case respectively, are the latest counties to record an infection.
And the 2 reported cases from Mandera is a recent travel from Mombasa County.
And with the numbers in Nairobi and Mombasa on an upward trajectory, the government justified the need for the 2 counties to close themselves in to control the spread. Those who are in quarantine facilities and who tested negative have been cleared to go home, but those that are yet to be given a clean bill of health will have to complete the additional mandatory quarantine of 14 days. But even this dark cloud has a silver lining. 3 people who had previously tested positive for COVID-19 have now tested negative and have been released. Leila Mohammed, NTV.
Well, the reality of the tightened measures to curb the continued spread of COVID-19 dawned on thousands locked in or out of Nairobi metropolis. The orders issued yesterday by President Kenyatta are already in force, but as Brenda Wanga now reports, some are already finding ways to circumvent them.
The roadblocks came up just hours after the presidential directive was issued, limitation of movement in and out of the Nairobi metropolis coming into effect as soon as the sun set yesterday. Caught up in this net, travelers in and out of the capital, those who work in the city and live in the city's bedroom areas on its outskirts.
Kwangu nina imani kwamba watatuelewa juu tunaelekea makwetu. So wakisema kwamba tubaki huku hivi hata kazini hatutafanya.
The implementation of that order sparing no one.
Mimi niko mgonjwa. Kitu menileta hapa ni matibabu.
In early morning, there were no relaxing of the orders from Limuru to Machakos, Kajiado to Katani. The rules were the same. If you are out of the metropolis, you stay out. And if you are in, you stay put. In some cases, even those classified as essential service providers were caught up in the new order.
Mizigo yangu iko Kangemi yote, machungwa, mandizi, nyanya, vitunguu, na nimezaweka kwa gari. Na hakuna gari ya kutoka hapa kwenda Kangemi.
Hapa tukafika hapa nimepata roadblock. Wametukatasha, wamesema kwamba hataenda Mombasa. Na sisi hatuishi Nairobi. Wala hatuishi wapi, hatuji popote hapa.
But even as the order gets implemented, there are those who are determined to circumvent them. The roadblocks are mounted on known entries and exits into the metropolis. But there are other routes that are not covered by the law enforcement agencies, and these are already gaining currency by those seeking to breach the laws.
Munaona watu tunaomba raia waache kuwa kugaidi amri.
Sema hii sio kupanisha wananchi. Hii ni kusaidia. Hii ni kusaidia kwa sababu ya hii COVID-19.
The limitation of movement has been associated by the rapid spread of the virus in the country, especially in the counties of Nairobi, Kilifi, Mombasa and Kwale, the areas already affected by the COVID pandemic in Kenya. Brenda Wanga, NTV.
Well, from tomorrow 7 p.m., you will be required to stay put if you're in any of the coastal counties of Mombasa, Kwale, or even Kilifi, as the government's directive to restrict movement to contain the spread of the coronavirus takes effect. NTV's coast reporter Kevin Mutai also reports that the ferry services will be restricted to Mombasa residents, as authorities warn of any lawful action against anyone who defies those guidelines.
The Ministry of Health confirmed an additional 2 cases of COVID-19 in Mombasa County. The news was followed by an even more disturbing revelation that an infected person from Mandera County had traveled from the coast. This, the government says, is why it took measures to tighten restrictions to curb the spread of the virus. And from Wednesday 7 p.m., these restrictions to stop movement in and out of the counties of Mombasa, Kwale and Kilifi will take effect. Roadblocks will be mounted at various border points to block any entries into or exits from these counties.
If you are in Kwale, you remain in Kwale from tomorrow. If you are in Mombasa, you stay here. You don't go out, you don't come in. If you are in Kilifi, the same.
We simply need to be careful. We need to understand that we will suffer. It can be very painful. But this is the time in our lives where we have to take the hard decisions to be able to save the future.
Wale watu ambao wanaishi katika county jirani na wanafanya kazi katika county nyingine, ni vipi ambavyo tunaweza kuwawezesha ili kuendelea kwenda katika makazi yao na kuendelea kupata pato.
Ferry services will only be available to Likoni residents and those from Mombasa Island. Authorities say they will take action against commuters who flout the rules.
We will not be seeing people driving their personal cars say across the ferry to any other place. The ferry is a crossing, it's like a bridge linking Likoni to Mombasa and of course Kwale. But if you're coming from Kwale, definitely you're not coming to Mombasa because the ferry crossing is in Mombasa. So it will be serving largely the people of Likoni.
Some residents have backed the new directives but say the government should have given them more time to make the necessary adjustments.
Uzima wetu ni kutii serikali vile inavyosema, lakini tukikosa kutii na tutaweza pata na ugonjwa na hatimaye tutaweza kuadhirika na makosa itakuwa ni juu yetu.
Mimi ndo naibeba nikipeleka kule, lakini nikizuiliwa niwe mali nipo, basi itakuwa ni rahisi ile kitu izunguke pale pale na tukao kwenye quarantine itadhibitiwa pale na tutaendelea vizuri, itaisha.
Baada ya muda wale ambao watakuwa wako na virusi watajulikana ni wangapi, watawekwa kwenye karantini na wale ambao hawatakuwa na virusi watawachiliwa endelee na shughuli zao za kawaida.
Inaathiri biashara pia kwa sababu huwezi beba mteja hapo ukampeleka mtu hapa na kule mtu hapa huwezi pata mteja ukamleta Mombasa.
Authorities are now tracing persons who may have come into contact with the confirmed cases from the coastal region. Kevin Mutai, NTV, Mombasa.
Well, at least they had 2 days head start, unlike most people in Nairobi who had to contend with this beginning yesterday evening. And did you know it's almost a month since the government ordered the closure of all schools and institutions of higher learning to help curb the spread of COVID-19? So how are the homebound learners coping? Lois Wangoi in Eldoret has been exploring the huge divide between the children with means to continue learning remotely and those who, due to circumstances, have to extend their midterm break.
We arrive at this household in Elgonville Estate to lots of peace and quiet. It is the first day of her children's end of first term assessment. Her children, Nasha and Irora, completed their syllabus at home following the closure of schools, and now their school is carrying out end-of-term assessments via the internet.
The children have continued with their calendar of education through Google Classroom. The school was able to use that platform.
The children have desks and chairs, a tab and a laptop for use, complete with internet connectivity. At exactly 9 a.m., they start their exam. The supervisor, their mom, sits for the 2-hour period to ensure the integrity of the paper.
The paper was sent and I had to keep it until the morning of the exam.
She later takes a picture of the pupils' answer sheets and sends them to their teacher for marking via the internet. Then a congratulatory hug to the children for steering through their school schedule under unusual circumstances. From Elgonville, we find our way to Langas Estate. Many who live here are low-income earners. We therefore expect to at least find them learning through TV and radio education programs which are freely available.
Wengine wana TV kama sisi, radio. Sasa simu pia hakuna. Hata kusikiliza vitu kama hiyo atupati.
Instead, we find a large number of children playing outside to kill time. The older children feel disadvantaged by their circumstances.
Huko kwa matajiri kuna watoto wanaendelea kusoma na wako na computers, nyumba zao ziko na wifi, as in internet iko available. Sisi kama huko hivi Islamu huko hatuna kitu. Kusoma hiyo imekatika kabisa. TV na radio unapata kama kwa nyumba, unaweza pata nyumba moja ndio kuna TV kwa plot. Tunaona ni ngumu, mwezi sanyana kwa mtu mmoja nyinyi wote na msome.
Marandod wengi hapa kwetu kabisa mchana wanazima stima, na sasa stima tunapata kuanzia saa 12 ya jioni, labda kuanzia mpaka usiku hivi. Lakini sasa watoto ukiwaona sasa mchana, watoto wenyewe wako tu mtaani, hakuna kitu wanafanya.
Most children here are looking after their siblings while their parents are away trying to earn a living. Some observe social distancing in the wake of coronavirus. Most, however, interact seemingly oblivious of the risks. I ask Mary Khalichi, a mother of 5, why they are not encouraging their children to study using their school notes if TV and radio are unavailable here.
Watoto sasa hata tutawafuatilia aje? Mtoto hajakunywa hata chai, hajakula hata chochote. Hata ukimwekea kitabu hapa ataona. Hawezi ona.
At lunchtime, many of the children play on. Most have no lunch and playing keeps them busy. If they had been in school, free feeding programs would have provided lunch. For now, coronavirus has changed their world. Lois Wangoi, NTV, in the county of Uasin Gishu.
Well, the contrast and the sad reality. Infectious disease management stipulates that specific hospitals should be given core mandate to handle pandemics such as the one we are facing, COVID-19. Isolation and treatment centers should also protect the health personnel, infected patients and other patients in such facilities. But there have been many complaints recently that these guidelines are not being followed. Eunice Omolo now reports.
About a week before Kenya announced its first COVID-19 case in the country, President Uhuru Kenyatta set up a 21-member task force and ordered the completion of an isolation center at Mbagathi Hospital in Nairobi within 7 days. All counties were also required to set up isolation centers to help in the management of the COVID-19 pandemic.
The infection prevention practices put in place to ensure that infections don't come in and infections don't go out.
During a pandemic, the hospital acts like a breeding ground for infections, not only for the patients, but among health practitioners as well. Hence, the need for safe working environment.
Healthcare acquired infections or hospital-acquired infections are more lethal than so-called community-acquired infection. Consequently, it is important that we limit the amount of contact or amount of hospital-acquired infection that may arise if we combine this COVID infection with the same hospital. This has been shown clearly in Italy, where originally, when they were overwhelmed, they were admitting COVID patients into a general hospital with an infections or isolation wing.
In Italy, a total of 4,826 healthcare workers have been infected by the new coronavirus, the highest number in the world. This means roughly 1 out of 10 people infected in the country is a healthcare worker. According to the International Council of Nurses, about 3,000 health workers have been infected by COVID-19 in China, the majority being nurses. The international body is asking countries to give a breakdown of the number of affected healthcare workers in order to further identify the modes of transmission and improve the safety of health professionals. In Africa, it is estimated that 237 healthcare workers in 18 countries have tested positive for COVID-19 and 10 of them have died. In Kenya, 3 health facilities have put healthcare workers in quarantine facilities after they came into contact with patients who tested positive for COVID-19. The Ministry of Health has also resolved to test all healthcare workers, arguing that a number of them have been at risk of infection.
Because we also have our fair share of individuals who are in the medical field who also are quite casual, about the use of this gear. And we have noticed it in certain areas. Obviously, we keep on telling them, they know better.
Shortage of healthcare workers in Kenya has been identified as one of the key challenges in the fight of COVID-19. The government is now in the process of hiring about 1,000 additional healthcare workers.
It is obvious even from previously, the 1,000 was not enough for the health system, you see. So you can imagine when you have increased COVID-19. Currently, hospitals are turning into teams. For instance, this team has a nurse, a consultant, a doctor, a pharmacist. These ones come and work, then they leave. Then the others come. Well, we've done calculations and we've seen that you need about 4 teams. But if one team gets COVID, you're saying those are the ones who are working together, then you remove them for 14 days. Then you will need another team to replace them.
The government races against time to screen, test and manage the current active cases of COVID-19 in the country. There's also a competitive demand for attention in the healthcare system. There's also a dire need for well-equipped, protected and adequate human resource in the healthcare system to take care of the COVID-19 cases and the non-COVID-19 cases as well. Eunice Omolo, NTV, Nairobi.
And because of this pandemic, Kenya will suspend some of the development projects in order to free up more funds to battle the COVID-19, which is ravaging the world. Victor Kiprop now reports on the headache the government is facing as it struggles to stimulate the already decelerating economy amid low target revenues.
As the coronavirus pandemic continues battering the global economy, the National Treasury now says it will intensify revision of budgetary allocations in the current financial year in order to help shield the economy from the impact of the pandemic, and nothing will be spared.
We are revising our budget, the supplementary budget at the moment, and we are ready to go. And we are not sparing any item, including even development. We are actually partially suspending some of the development program, so that now we address it next financial year, hoping that things will have improved.
In the looming budget cuts, which are expected to cut across all the three arms of government, the National Treasury says containing the spread of the coronavirus and mitigating its impact on the already battered economy is now the government's top priority.
The funds belong to the people. The funds belong to all of us. If individuals involved, institutions involved have not traveled outside this country for the last 3-4 months, and they are likely to travel between now and end of June, so what will that money be used for?
Previous attempts by the National Treasury to slash appropriation for non-essential items in the budgets of other arms of government, including Parliament and the judiciary, which were allocated 40.6 billion shillings and 19.4 billion shillings in the current financial year respectively, have however been met with strong objections.
We are confident that we all see the seriousness of the matter at hand, and everyone is going to understand, including judiciary.
The tax interventions announced by President Uhuru Kenyatta last week are yet to be approved by Parliament, but the National Treasury says they will translate into the government foregoing 172 billion shillings annually in tax revenue collection, or 60 billion shillings in 3 months.
Moving forward, it's clear that our revenue streams are going to shrink. By how much, we're still studying.
The COVID-19 Emergency Response Fund, which was set up last week, continues receiving donations from different individuals, corporates and multinationals, including a 2 billion shillings donation received today as recovered proceeds of crime. Victor Kiprop, NTV.
Now, the COVID-19 pandemic kept President Kenyatta away from the funeral of the late Catholic Archbishop Ndengi, but the head of state is promising to lead a celebration in his honor in the coming months. All arrangements had been made to receive the president at Holy Family Basilica for the funeral mass, but it appears the president was advised against attending in person. However, NTV's Kenneth Mureithi was present.
A few minutes to 9 o'clock Tuesday morning, the remains of retired Archbishop of Nairobi, Raphael Ndingi Mwananzeki, arrived at the Holy Family Basilica for his final rites. Family members, priests and bishops representing the different dioceses in the country were at hand to receive the body. Health workers checked the temperatures of the just about 100 guests, as all other measures were taken to protect everyone against the coronavirus. Security was heightened with the expectation that the president would attend. Before the body was wheeled into the church for the mass, select Catholic faithful as well as priests and bishops got an opportunity to view the body. An unusual burial for a special person whom many say touched them positively and never shied away from calling a spade in his life of ministry.
We remember Bishop Ndingi
as a firebrand prophet who confronted state agents in the Rift Valley during the ethnic clashes and defended the oppressed.
In the sitting plan, there was strict adherence to the 1.5-meter rule, with each bench accommodating only 2 people. This was also observed when taking the sacrament, where faithful were allowed to pick their own pieces, a departure from the norm where it is given by the priest.
Pray to God that He may grant a cure to the pandemic facing the world today.
President Uhuru Kenyatta was represented by the Principal Administrative Secretary in his office.
When we are through with these difficulties, he will lead the nation to set aside a day when the life of the late Archbishop will be celebrated.
The body of the late firebrand cleric was interred in a crypt at the Basilica, next to that of Archbishop John Joseph Njenga, who died in November 2018. Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
And may his soul rest in peace and good deeds follow him. Now, this is a public service announcement. In light of the spiking cases of the coronavirus, the World Health Organization revised its guidelines and advised everyone to wear a mask, in addition to other measures such as observing hand hygiene and social distancing. And as part of this public health campaign, the Nation Media Group urges you to stay safe and always wear a mask if you're appearing in a public space. And of course, I'm gonna wear my mask right now. This is a different mask, so each mask is worn a little bit differently. So I'll try to do this best way possible to keep me safe. So that's how the masks are worn. Just make sure it covers your nose nicely and extends down to your chin really well. And as we take a break, listen to this. Moroccans who leave their homes without wearing a face mask risk prison sentences of up to 3 months and a fine of up to or an equivalent of 12,600 Kenyan shillings. Now, this new order takes effect today for anyone leaving their homes during the coronavirus lockdown, which began in mid-March. Now, this decision was announced yesterday after a government meeting that deliberated on how to control the spread of the virus. Now, face masks are to be sold at a subsidized price of 80 shillings, an equivalent of 80 shillings, Kenyan shillings. By next week, Morocco plans to be producing almost 6 million face masks a day, up from the current figure of 3.3 million. We'll be right back. All right, and once you're done with the mask, you remove it, and once you remove it, you don't use it again, you discard it. Time for a break, we'll be back.
Disinfect and protect your home with Jik. Jik kills 99.9% of illness-causing germs. Disinfect floors, kitchen and bathroom surfaces, and wash white clothes, towels and dishcloths with Jik bleach. Just Jik it.
Kira! Kira? Where are you?
That's why you need the superior protection of Mortein 360-degree reach. Only this has 11 vents which enable it to reach the farthest corners. Mortein, total indoor protection.
Send M-Pesa up to 1,000 Kenya shillings for free. Avoid contact with paper cash. Safaricom is for you.
Affordable land at your fingertip. Optiven. Refer a friend and Optiven. Sawa. Download now to me. Optiven.
Experience the convenience of owning your property at the comfort of your phone. Download My Optiven app on Google Play Store or App Store and start your investment journey. What's even better, you earn extra cash when you refer a friend to download My Optiven app. Call 0740 400 400. Optiven, the pace setters in real estate. Simple and convenient.
Debtors may not
objective is to help children protect themselves from diseases. Do you know how we get illnesses like diarrhea, cough, and cold?
No!
They are spread through germs on your hands. Your hands collect germs that causes diseases. You pick up germs from any surface, like when you don't wash your hands after going to the toilet, while playing. And then you can get sick because of germs. That's why you need to fight germs to stay healthy by washing your hands regularly with Dettol soap that gives the best germ protection ever against many illness-causing germs.
Wash, wash, wash your hands. What you have to do is bath yourself. Dettol soap every day. Wash, wash, wash your hands.
Welcome to the Presbyterian University of East Africa, Puea. To pursue your academic and career paths, Puea is a faith-based university located in a serene learning environment in the Goto Kikuyu. Intakes are in January, May and September. Apply now for Master in Business Administration, Master of Education in Educational Management, Bachelor's, Diplomas and Certificates in Clinical Medicine and Surgery, Business Administration, Education, Arts and Science, Occupational Therapy, Nursing, Mass Communication, Computer Science, Hospitality and Tourism, and Theology. The Presbyterian University of East Africa, Puea, finding new paths.
Ukikuja Nairobi ulikuwa unaishi hapa kwangu?
Mtu nimeona akikuwa kubwa, hata akikuja Nairobi mimi ndo nimemweka kwa tange, akikuja Nairobi ananifukuza kama madharau, kama bibi ni nyang'au.
Akija hata iko kwa punchline.
Maza bwana, nitakukanyaga nikuunganishe na hiyo ukuta.
Ndio nyumba nimekulipia. Shopping ndio inakufanyia. What do you want? Am I not a father enough?
Unafikiria sisi jibaia shopping? Niwaambie mama tafadhali asinijaribu.
Si ruhusa kila kitu.
Leo mtoto mimi
nani ni rika yako? Wewe si uvingue rika yako, ruhusa.
And the news continues right here on NTV tonight with Flora Atieno. Last Friday, 2 boda operators in Kisumu were stabbed to death by people claiming to be enforcing the government's one motorbike, one passenger directive to curb the spread of the coronavirus. Now, the killers will later be traced to a community-based organization registered under the name Kisumu County Boda Association. Tonight, Okokusa takes a look at what could possibly be the rebirth of a Mungiki-like outfit operating under the guise of a CBO in the lakeside city.
When Alex Osewe left his house in the morning of Thursday, 2nd of April, he was full of life. That's according to his expectant wife, Sarah Akoth.
Sasa nikampigia, akaniambia tu ako sawa. Jioni kufika saa 1 nampigia simu, time imeenda na hajaingia kwa nyumba. Kumbe ndiye alikuwa amewawa. Sikujua.
That will be the first time Sarah will come to learn of what the people in the boda sector here in Kisumu popularly refer to as the CBO.
Nasikia tu CBO amemuua. Au CBO mimi hata sijui ni wakina nani.
Hii group ya CBO ni mbaya. Hii group wanaua watu. Sio hii ndio mara ya kwanza. But wamesaua watu wengi.
And these guys are maiming everybody and they're killing everybody. The other day we had an incident at Juakali. 3 people were killed. In the last 1 year, almost 12 people have been killed by these menace and the group called the CBO Boda people. The community-based organization in question is registered under the name Kisumu County Boda Association. Its core mandate was to regulate the boda industry and at the same time economically empower boda taxi operators in the county. But somewhere along the way, some criminal elements masquerading as the security wing of the CBO took over the operations of the outfit, turning it into a terror group.
Ilikuja kwa nini? Na ilikuja kutusaidia na nini? Kutuumiza ama kutusaidia? Kama ilikuja kutuumiza, tujue ilikuja kutuumiza kwa sababu sisi kama operators wana boda tuna mashaka sana, tena tunajishuku sana. Yaani hatuna maisha mzuri. Ukitembea huku unajishuku tu utakutana na hao watu ili wakuumize.
They even enter into issues to do with the domestic affairs. At times you realize that you quarrel with your wife, then this group comes and enter in. Instead of taking the matter to the police or to the assistant chief, they are the ones taking the matter as if they are the security agents within.
Mimi najua serikali tatu. Iko ka police, ka chief, na community policing ambapo inakaa na elder. Hiyo ndio najua. Lakini CBO menye wametengeleza ofisi, wakishika wewe wanapeleka kwa ofisi zao. Ni mbaya.
The CBO has one law, their way or the highway. The boda riders claim that anyone who fails to adhere to some of the regulations, which include payment of a registration fee, invites trouble to themselves, as 21-year-old Richard Onyango found out.
Wakaanza tu kunichapa na huyu jamaa mwenye alifunga macho akachukua kisu wakazima taa kwanza akanidunga. Sasa kuidunga mimi pia nikatoka tu na juu walikuwa wameacha mlango wazi, nikatoka tu na kupiga nduru watu wakakuja.
One of the rules introduced by the CBO requires all boda taxi operators in Kisumu to identify with a workstation, which is popularly referred to by the riders as base.
Kitambo upate pesa ya kwenda kwa base ni around, wengine wanasema 3,000, wengine wanasema 5,000, wengine hata 10,000. Ukienda kama taskisi ni 10,000, unaona, ndio ukuwe member wa hapo. Kama hujakuwa member wa hapo, sasa hii kitu ya county wanafanya namna gani? Wanasema sababu wewe sio member, hauna base yoyote, ndio sasa unakutana na hii majauri yote ama hii wewe ni rebel, unaona? Unasimama tu mahali popote, wewe ndio mwizi.
The terror group is said to carry out its illegal activities with the full blessings of both the police and some local politicians.
I know there are politicians who want to play politics with this, but I'm saying here, we are not going to play politics with our own people. We are not going to say good things so that we please people, so that they get votes. We are saying the CBO is doing something that is very illegal, and we are not going to allow them to continue maiming our own people.
These people are taking 2,000 each. If they arrest your motorbike, they demand for 2,000 shillings each. So they keep this money, wanagawa na mapolisi wako hapa. So the first people who suspect are your police officers.
This CPO, I don't know about it. Sijui ni mnyama gani anaitwa CPO. Mimi mwenyewe I will advise my senior bosses. I write a letter. Hii CPO iwe disbanded once and for all. Hapo tumesikizana.
2 days after the incident, the county security committee, together with the county political leadership, cracked the whip. In a letter signed by Governor Mijungu, the security committee asked the county director of social development to deregister all the boda CBOs, SACCOs, and associations within the county with immediate effect and freeze all bank accounts held in the names of those SACCOs, CBOs, and associations. During the police crackdown, one member of the CBO was lynched by angry boda riders, while 11 others, including the organization's secretary, were apprehended. 10 motorcycles were also recovered from the CBO's main office. Police also impounded an assortment of crude weapons that included bows, arrows, and knives. The boda operators hope that the action taken by the county security team will go a long way in sanitizing the sector and at the same time bring to an end the long days of anguish and terror at the hands of the criminal gang. Huko Kusa, NTV, Kisumu.
Very unfortunate what's happening in Kisumu. Let's head to the High Court, which stopped the County Assembly of Kirinyaga from discussing an impeachment motion against Governor Anne Waiguru until the coronavirus pandemic is contained or the case is heard and determined. In a 33-page ruling, Justice Weldon Korir said Governor Waiguru presented justifiable reasons to halt the assembly proceedings. Many elected leaders in Kirinyaga, including MPs, want to go ahead with that impeachment, accusing Waiguru of using the Jubilee Party and the courts to intimidate them. NTV senior political affairs reporter Kenneth Muredi has the details.
That Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru is a marked lady in Mount Kenya political arena is not in doubt. A move by the county assembly to impeach her has awakened the county's politics, with the focus now shifting to the political leadership and machinations to eject her from the seat of power. Yesterday, all the county's 5 members of parliament called a press conference pushing for her removal. They also accused the Jubilee Party Secretary General Raphael Tuju of intimidating the county assembly and gagging the membership to avoid discussing an impeachment motion against the governor.
Hayo ni maoni yake na hafai kuwa anaongea badala ya party, lakini yawe anaandika barua kwa niaba yake yeye mwenyewe, lakini si kwa niaba ya Jubilee Party.
Na huwezi kusimamisha county assembly kufanya kazi yake. Na tunajua chama ya Jubilee si chama ya wakora na wezi, ni chama imara.
Immediately the motion was tabled last week, Tuju wrote a letter directing the assembly to abandon the impeachment plot as it will derail the party and its national agenda. The matter is even more concerning considering the entire country is in the middle of combating the global COVID-19 pandemic. The county leadership should be one fighting this scourge, and any politicking like the one being threatened by some of the assembly is a diversion the party does not accept.
Kweli tunajua ile janga ipo na inashughulikiwa vilivyo katika county assemblies na katika national assembly. Lakini pia tunasema constitution ya Kenya haijasimama, bado inaendelea.
The Speaker of the County Assembly is the right authority to give guidelines on how many MCAs should meet and not the county commissioner.
The onslaught against Waiguru by a section of the assembly members led by Mutira Ward MCA David Wangoi saw the ejection of Majority Leader James Murango, who is accused of not supporting the governor and instead siding with her detractors.
My position remains that as Majority Leader, I cannot defend the governor with no documentation which exonerates the governor from the allegation or what has been tabled in the assembly, because failure to bring them only means that allegations are true.
Governor Waiguru has been at the forefront of Uhuru Kenyatta campaign through the BBI rallies in Mount Kenya. She played a key role in organizing the meetings and attacking MPs and political players allied to Deputy President William Ruto. She has also blamed her woes on the DP, accusing him of trying to dim her glowing light as she scales the heights of politics in the country. Gatondo South MP Moses Kuria has also questioned the move by Tuju, accusing him of meddling in Kirinyaga County Assembly leadership. In a statement, Kuria notes it is curious why Raphael Tuju and his owners occupiers at Jubilee Party did not act with the same alacrity in Kiambu County. One wonders whether Honorable Tuju is the Secretary General of Jubilee Party, Kirinyaga branch. Kuria further notes Tuju's term expired in March and his issuance of directives was not welcome.
Tuju anafaa akae kando na awache county assembly iendelee na kazi yake ambayo ni ya oversight.
Waiguru has also fallen out with her deputy Peter Ndambiri, who has accused her of being a lone ranger in running county affairs. He accuses the governor of locking him out of office. The county political leadership has said it will not shy from pushing on with the impeachment, despite a court order issued by Justin Weldon Korir saying she had valid grounds for stopping her impeachment. Kennedy Muredhi, NTV.
Right, there's still some politics indeed. And a tweet here from Wangare Mushui. She says now that NFG is urging you to wear the mask in public places. She's asking, we hear you on the masks, but where are these masks bought at reasonable prices? They are currently quite expensive, a concern for many in Kenya, including the sanitizers and all. But this is something the government is working on. They are showing the designs to tailors to at least make masks that are affordable. And from the story we read about Morocco, you know, even a bakery in Morocco, a bakery that used to make bakery equipment in Morocco went to manufacturing these things to make them easy, and the government is also subsidizing it to about 80 shillings. I know it's currently expensive, but this is something that I want to assure you the government is working on, and soon or later we'll have cheap masks. Time for another break. When we come back, we'll be making sense of the sense. Stay with us.
Sensitivity is a short, sharp pain that people experience when they have something hot or cold getting to the nerve of the tooth, causing that discomfort. If the sensitivity is left alone, it may get worse. Dentists recommend Sensodyne to their patients. It's able to get inside the tooth and calm the nerve of the tooth down, and the proof's in the results. It works.
Sona moja imetengenezwa kwa njia spesheli ili kupambana na maumivu kwa haraka. Sona moja ina aspirin kama kiungo. Sona moja, kitulizo kamili. Maumivu yakizidi, pata ushauri wa daktari.
Melissa? Mom, it's Dad's birthday today. I'm giving him a party just like he gives me.
Nothing makes a mother more proud than seeing her child growing up. But I know that as she learns to care for others, she'll face even more germs and the risk of illnesses.
That's why you need strong Dettol protection. Just 1 cup of Dettol protects your home and family from up to 100 illness-causing germs.
Growing up needs Dettol protection.
Rafiki yangu alinishow mattress imekunjwa ya Dr. Mattress. Sikuamini, nikaenda kujionea. Wakani invite kutembelea factory yao nione technology. Wow! Inakompresiwa na 50 tons of force. Alafu ina roll pakiwa. Hii iliniashua itani last kuliko mattress zingine zote nimekuwa nikinunua. Nunua yako leo.
Introducing Jomo Kenyatta International Airport's new parking payment options. Through the automated parking system, you can now pay for parking in 3 stress-free ways. Using M-Pesa through the USSD code *486*12#, or using cash at the CAPS payment points located in the parkings, or using your preloaded CAPS A card. No payment will be done at the exits. Experience stress-free parking with Kenya Airports Authority. Kenya Airports Authority, setting our sights high.
Do your gums hurt? Yeah. Does your toothpaste contain sage, eucalyptus, myrrh, chamomile? All that in one toothpaste? Yes, try Colgate Herbal. Colgate Herbal contains nature's best herbs and Colgate's fluoride technology to give you strong teeth and healthy gums. Ah, Colgate Herbal. Let's go. Colgate Herbal for strong teeth and healthy gums naturally.
Nyaja wa Kenya. Hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the bits in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
Beat germs with Jik. Kills 99.9% of germs on your kitchen surfaces, sponges, chopping boards, sink and fridge, and your bathroom taps, showerhead, basin and surfaces. Just Jik it. Look out for our new improved packaging in store. Just Jik it.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
Right, let's make sense of this sense now. And the Central Organization of Trade Unions is calling upon the government to initiate distribution of food to households in informal settlements and those that have lost their main source of income due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this comes even as a section of employers heightened the call for cash transfers to cushion employees who have lost their jobs.
We at the National Social Security Fund, we are in the process of consulting with trustees to make sure that we contribute a substantial amount of money which comes from workers, maybe to buy food, to government to buy food to some of the workers who would not be able to access food from their houses.
There's a doctrine we call force majeure. It is where you have an unforeseen circumstance that you could not have contemplated by the time you're entering into that contract of employment, but that has come in and frustrated the contract of employment. I have not terminated that employee, but then after the 30 days or the 21 days when I'm supposed to pay those wages, I will not be able to pay. So that the employee cannot now be heard to say that I am in breach.
And the real estate market is expected to take a significant hit from the adverse effects of the COVID-19 on the economy as investors grapple with project delays. Analysts cite on investment argue that the sector, which was just beginning to recover following the repeal of the low capping interest rates, will now suffer yet another shock from the spread of the COVID-19. The real estate sector has been identified as one of the key drivers of the non-performing loans as a default on the mortgage rises.
Due to the coronavirus pandemic, we expect new challenges to face the sector, and these include project completion delays due to quarantines and social distancing rules. Also, we've seen supply chains being disrupted for construction materials, and the recent lands office closure, which means delays in approvals for developers.
And elsewhere, shareholders of sugar milling company Mumias will have to wait longer before they can execute any trades following extensions of the suspensions of the company's shares from the trading at the exchange. According to a statement from the Nairobi Securities Exchange, the extension of the suspension was issued by the Capital Markets Authority in line with the regulations and will remain in force until further notice. Mumias Sugar Company was placed under receivership in September of last year. The market regulator has also extended indefinitely the suspension of shares of retailer Deacons East Africa, which was also placed under administration in November of 2018. And the investors in Kenya could soon have a wider array of asset classes to invest in following the gazetting of regulations for commodities market regulations by the National Treasury. The regulations now pave way for a licensing of commodity exchange, commodity brokers and approval of clearinghouses in a move that should allow investments in a wide array of commodities, including agriculture and energy products. The regulations further provide for the governance, trading and conduct of business of commodities exchange and commodity brokers, including the disclosure, compliance and reporting requirements. The regulator also seeks to bring the Nairobi Coffee Exchange under its pavilion through gazettement of the Coffee Exchange Regulations of 2020. Well, on that note, we end business for tonight, but stick around because the news continues and we still have sports for you.
NTV Business News in association with KCB Internet Banking.
We can always talk about your account online whenever you like.
Register at your nearest branch for KCB Internet Banking today.
Send M-Pesa up to 1,000 Kenya shillings for free. Avoid contact with paper cash. Safaricom is for you.
Nyaja wa Kenya. Hii ni public service announcement kuhusu coronavirus.
The Ministry of Health advises all returnees from abroad to self-quarantine for at least 14 days, whether they feel well or unwell.
Wash your hands regularly following the 8 steps of hand washing. Wet hands with warm water. Apply a small amount of soap. Rub palms together. Rub fingers and thumbs and the bits in between. Rub nails on palms. Rub the back of each hand. Rinse with clean running water and dry thoroughly with a clean dry towel.
Furthermore, it is advisable to cover your mouth and nose adequately when sneezing or coughing and immediately dispose of the tissue in a dustbin. Please do not use handkerchiefs if you can avoid it. If disposable tissue is unavailable, cough into your elbow. Try and avoid close contact with anyone showing signs of respiratory illness, such as coughing or sneezing.
Before you share any coronavirus information on social media, please verify it with Ministry of Health to avoid panic and alarm among your fellow Kenyans.
Usingoje hadi dakika ya mwisho. Pimwa kwenye hospitali ya serikali. Matibabu inapatikana bila malipo. TB inakinga na tiba.
Molfix breathable surface developed with Airsoft technology is very soft and provides the best Molfix skincare.
I've found the best diaper for my baby's sensitive skin.
All babies deserve a high-quality diaper. You should also try Molfix.
I help women find independence by training them in fish farming. It's tough on my back, joints, and can cause headaches. Panadol Extra relieves multiple types of pain. Panadol Extra, now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains with 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most. Seeing them support themselves makes any pain worth it. If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
The first time I held you, I fell in love with you, and I knew there was something great in you. I can't help but think of the legacy you will leave. I'm proud of who you've become. From mere ambitions to bigger challenges, from having that dream to actually living it, from moving out to settling your family in this dream home.
Every day, we endeavor to provide you with the best real estate solutions. Own your dream home at Victory Gardens, just 10 minutes drive from Kitengela town. Call us today on 0790 300 300.
Across the border in Uganda, the Masindi District COVID-19 Task Force Committee says it's searching for 2 people who escaped from quarantine at the Masindi main hospital. The 2 are believed to have had a contact with a COVID-19 case from Hoima.
Masindi main hospital had quarantined 70 people who reportedly had contact with a man who traveled from Afghanistan and who later tested positive for COVID-19. However, 2 of them have escaped from the hospital.
Yesterday, 2 who were removed from isolation ward and put on the main ward for quarantine escaped. So there's a security problem. We are requesting the DPC through your office that you support us. Like we all know, it is very costly to bring those people here in terms of the fuel that we are using and then the risk.
The chairperson COVID-19 Case Management Committee, Dr. Rogers Musingus, says the 2 had been picked from Chatri Parish in Pakinyi sub-county in Masindi district. Their first test showed negative results, but they were quarantined for 14 days for further monitoring.
And as we speak of today, we have made all arrangements to go back and trace them because we have all the necessary information to have them back.
Our surveillance team is going to make a follow-up to see that these people are brought to isolation until 14 days are over. We have deployed police day and night who will keep there guarding, see that these people who are in the isolation room, isolation wards, have remained there up to 14 days.
According to Section 11 of the statutory instrument issued by the Ministry of Health, the Public Health Control of COVID-19 2020, it's illegal to escape from the quarantine.
Anyone who escapes from quarantine or isolation, or someone who aids that escape, they are liable and they can be imprisoned for a period of about 2 months in jail.
Prior to their escape, the 2 suspects had complained that they were not getting enough food during their 10-day stay.
All right, on that note, we take another break. When we come back, actually, when I come back, I have all the stories from the sports desk. Stay with us.
automated parking system, you can now pay for parking in 3 stress-free ways. Using M-Pesa through the USSD code *486*12#, or using cash at the CAPS payment points located in the parkings, or using your preloaded CAPS A card. No payment will be done at the exits.
When you're facing stubborn stains, you're always in a fierce fight. Clean Soft kicks out stains. Kimateki.
Kama chef, kazi yangu anasimama mchana yote. Kuchoka nayo. Hii mattress imetengenezwa na technology ya pocket springs. Ukilalia zina fit na mwili yako, kukupatia perfect support. Ebu harakisha nunua yako.
Breastfeeding ruins the shape of your breasts. This myth is false. Feeding your baby at night makes breastfeeding easier. Yes, this is true. Small breasts can't produce enough milk. This myth is false.
Kiss Kids diapers. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Kiss Kids, no rashes. Bye-bye rashes. Buy diapers. Choose Kiss Kids.
Ukikuja Nairobi ulikuwa unaishi hapa kwangu?
Mtu nimeona akikuwa kubwa, hata akikuja Nairobi mimi ndo nimemweka kwa tangi. Akikuja Nairobi ananifukuza kama madharau, kama mimi ni nyang'au.
Actually hata haiko kwa punchline.
Nyamaza bwana, nitakukanyaga nikuunganishe na hiyo ukuta.
Ndio nyumba nimekulipia. Shopping ndio inakufanyia. What do you want? Am I not a father enough?
Unafikiria sisi jibaia shopping na mwambie mama tafadhali asinijaribu.
Si ruhusa kila kitu.
Leo mtoto mimi
nani ni rika yako? Wewe si uvimkue rika yako, ruhusa.
And in Sports Cabinet Secretary Amina Mohammed now says that the ministry is working on setting aside funds to help sportsmen and women during the coronavirus pandemic period. This comes after President Uhuru Kenyatta directed the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Heritage to set aside 100 million shillings to help local artists just get by.
Tumeanza mazungumzo kuona vile tutasaidia hawa wakimbiaji na wachezaji wote ambao wamepoteza nafasi kwa sababu ya corona. Tungependa sana tuangalie ile cash awards ambayo tunawapatia, kuna vile tutafanya ili tuwashike mkono, tuwashike mkono kidogo ili waweze kuendelea na practice zao mpaka wakati ambao hizi michezo zitafanyika tena. Kwa hivyo haya ni mazungumzo ambayo tunazo. Nina matumaini ya kwamba yatakuwa mazuri na tutaweza kuwasaidia wachezaji wetu na pia wale creatives wetu ambao kwa kweli hawezi kufanya kazi kwa sababu usiku sasa tuko na curfew. Kwa hivyo zile gigs walikuwa wanafanya hawafanyi. So wote hawa tutawaangalia tuone vile tunaweza kuwasaidia, tuwashike mkono kidogo tu. Kwa vile hatuna infinite resources. Kwa hivyo zile tunazo tutagawa, tuone vile tunaweza kuwasaidia waweze kujipanga kwa muda huu ambao hawachezi ama hawakimbii ama hawaparticipate kwa michezo yote.
Sports, yes, Amina Mohammed there working from home. Now, the third edition of Eldoret City Marathon has been postponed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The race was scheduled for the 19th of this month. The local organizing committee will announce a new date later. Defending champions in the men and women's categories are Matthew Kisorio and Valerie Ayabe, respectively.
And I want to ask the athletes that they should be training alone, not as a group, because we need your help. We need you in future because we know all the races has been postponed, and I urge you to train because our postponement will not take too long. But why we kept quiet till this moment was that we thought that this pandemic will get finished. But as everyone knows that it is still going on strong, and that is why we say we move the marathon to a certain date.
At All Africa University silver medalist in cross-country Benson Muison Linkola is one of the athletes affected by the coronavirus pandemic. Now, Linkola is a fourth-year student at Kibabii University, that's in Bungoma County. He was to represent the country in the World University Cross-Country Championship in Marrakesh, Morocco on the 7th of March this year. Now, due to the COVID-19, however, the championship was postponed. The 23-year-old who trains in Chewoyet camp, that's in West Pokot, aims to represent the country in Tokyo 2020 Olympics in the 10,000 meters race.
In every society, there must be challenges. But these challenges, to me, I use these challenges to boost me or to motivate me during the competition time. However, I have the small challenges I'm having, balancing here and there, being in a class, at the same time being in the training camp. Bearing in your mind that here in Bungoma County is at a bit low altitude than where I'm supposed to train. Personally, I train in West Pokot, in Chewoyet-based training camp. And having time to go to camp and then coming back is a challenge.
Well, the name is Benson Linkola, if I got it wrong. Basketball stars from different African countries have appealed to all Africans to follow the set guidelines in a bid to kick out COVID-19. The basketball stars join an array of sportsmen and women who are using their position in the fight against the coronavirus.
Maintain social distancing. Stay at least 1 meter away from other people.
Learn something new. Do an online course, learn how to cook, maybe even learn a new language.
For young people, it will be important to take these things seriously.
When we all work together,
we can achieve anything.
We look forward to seeing you in November
for the 2021 AfroBasket qualifiers.
Children, we hope everyone stays well and safe.
We hope everyone stays safe and well.
We hope everyone stays well and safe.
All of you stay safe.
We hope everyone stays safe and healthy.
And Premier League leaders Liverpool have apologized to their fans after reversing their decision to place some non-playing staff on temporary leave. The Chief Executive Officer Peter Moore said in a letter to the club's fans that they came to the wrong conclusion last week and are truly sorry for the same. He added the Reds will find alternative means to pay the staff. And on Saturday, Liverpool sent non-playing staff on temporary leave, a decision which was criticized by former Liverpool players Jamie Carragher and Stan Collymore. Meanwhile, Newcastle, Tottenham, Bournemouth and Norwich have already announced they will send some non-playing staff on temporary leave.
Come back, Ox. Romo, play here.
And Manchester City manager Pep Guardiola's mother, Dolores Sala Carrillo, has died in Barcelona after contracting the coronavirus. Sala Carrillo passed on at the age of 82 in March. Guardiola